Before I quit my job back in August, I forgot that I did something petty and added a restricted internet filter to the workstations. This was just brought up to me through a text message from one of my old coworkers, and I had completely forgotten about it until today. I thought I would share it. For context, I live in the Midwestern United States. I had a friend at my previous job who worked in the information technology department. He was the head of cybersecurity and software licenses, while I was the project manager for the site and also managed the building and its equipment. He and I worked together frequently because we had government contracts. We often had to check in visitors, vet them, and give them temporary access cards to enter the building. I would collect vendor information and forward it to him, while he handled permissions. Sometimes, I was installing new equipment or updating on-site systems, such as software for the solar panel monitoring system. This required me to install new programs not only on my computer, but also on specific workstations tied to production lines. Before this job I had worked as a government contractor. My previous top-secret clearance helped me get this role, because it meant the information technology department could trust me, and even use some of the contacts I had established. I was also the information technology manager in a previous job, and understood all the terminology, so my coworker and I worked very well together. Unlike any company I had ever worked for, this place absolutely hated the information technology department. They treated them like unwanted troublemakers. They believed information technology slowed down production, and they hated all the rules and security procedures. The company gave the department the smallest budget I'd ever seen, and ignored their warnings. They overworked them, and forced them to come in on weekends or stay late, saying, "That is why they are on salary." I sympathized with them, and tried to help however I could. If a new wireless access point needed to be installed, I handled IT. If a network cable needed to be run 100 yards from the roof to the main hub, I ran it myself. Because of my help, trust, and knowledge, my friend gave me administrative access so I could install programs or troubleshoot issues for him while he was stuck in long meetings. Many workstations were critical for production. If one crashed, it shut down the entire line. It was easier for me to enter administrator credentials and fix it immediately rather than wait for information technology. Eventually, my friend left for another job across the country. I completely forgot that I still had administrator access. I had not needed it in a long time, and was focused on other responsibilities. Since I was in charge of the building, I was usually the last person to leave every day. Workers always left lights on, and the owner hated that, so it was easier for me to stay 20 minutes after my shift and shut everything down. On my last day, things were normal, except for one difference. I heard voices while closing up. I followed the sound and found one workstation still unlocked. On the computer were two open web pages. One was a live Fox News stream, and the other was a Newsmax page. Employees had been warned many times not to watch news streams at work, especially political ones. The person who sat at that workstation had always treated me badly. A petty idea entered my mind. Then I remembered that I still had administrator access. I opened the internet settings and blocked both websites. Out of curiosity, I walked to another workstation and checked the browsing history. It was the same. So I blocked the same websites on that computer too. I continued doing this at every workstation in one of the production buildings. The user accounts were generic department logins, all using the same password. Administrative access also used a generic username and password that was not tied to any person. Keycard logs only track someone entering the building, not leaving a tick. Staff staying late was common, so my presence was not suspicious. There were no cameras anywhere. The information technology department was also usually among the last people to leave. They could search the logs all they wanted, but there was no way to identify me. My friend, who originally knew about my access, had already quit, and I was quitting the next day. Good luck proving it was not one of their own people, or admitting that their security was so weak that someone could make system-wide changes without detection. I completely forgot about all of this until today, when one of the plant managers messaged me. A snowstorm hit last night, and the solar panels were malfunctioning, so he needed instructions on how to reboot them. I helped him because I liked him, not because I cared about the company. We started catching up, and I asked how the smaller winter shift was doing. He said they were fine overall, but they had been trying to figure out a so-called glitch in the matrix for a few months. Their weekend staff had been hit with layoffs, and they were running a skeleton crew of 3 people. The only major complaint from that crew was that they could not use certain websites anymore for some unknown reason. Since the information technology department was overwhelmed, and it was only the weekend crew complaining, management marked it as a low priority. But apparently more employees were starting to get annoyed by IT. And here is the funny part. Anyone who complained had to admit openly that they were trying to watch Fox News or other political content while on the clock, instead of working. It seems like a perfect outcome to me. Summary. I still had administrator access when I quit my job, so I blocked all right-wing political news websites on every production workstation. Months later, employees are still complaining, and every complaint exposes that they were not doing their jobs.